Okay, guys, so we already did the intro, we already did the interview, and we already did the end.
It went pretty awesome.
It was fun. But he did this crazy magic trick that I'm bugging out about.
It's going to be at the end of the video.
So we're making another intro so that you guys should know that you really
But don't just skip to the end, because if you skip the end, it's not going to make sense. You want to watch the whole interview and then you'll wait for the magic at the end. You guys, I guarantee you it will fool you, like no question. I don't think that any of you can leave it in the comments if you have any guesses, but I don't think that you'll have any guesses because this is
Let us know what you think the answer. Yeah, miracle. And if you do skip, he'll get you.
I'll know, and it's not gonna. You'll see. Anyway, enjoy the interview. And we're on.
I'd like to welcome you back to the channel, and I am very excited to have with me a world famous, probably the most famous Jewish magician around, partially because, I guess thanks to social media, his skills, and also the interesting thing about this man is that he does stage magic and street magic, and from what I've seen, he mixes the two, where he works the crowd. So he has a whole style.
That's how it's done. That's what I love. I like bringing the close-up magic to the stage, but also kind of trying to figure out a way to apply it that it can play to a big crowd. So not just to 3 people in the street, but without cameras and without equipment, be able to really let it play to a room the size of this, which is awesome.
That's amazing. So yeah, I see you get out there, and it probably gives you great practice that you're working in the street, that you can apply it that way.
Absolutely.
So I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you. And
by the way, if you guys are watching, this is going to be like a little bit of a different style than your average interview, I think, right? This is just it's going to be like a kind of like a podcast, chill type of conversation, back and forth, nothing too intense. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Like I think people will really enjoy listening. So if you want to stay tuned, keep watching, because
and if you don't want to stay tuned, stop watching.
No, if you don't want to watch the video, at least hit like and subscribe, and then you can. We'll give you a pass for this one, but then come back and watch it later.
I'm okay with it. So usually I would just flow with the conversation, but I have like a gazillion questions. So I'm gonna do this like shotgun. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Question number 1.
This doesn't work, but it makes us look cool. So
he's gonna make magic. Right. Okay, so here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Most people go through stages in their life, right? Like you're a kid, you want to be a magician, you try to make a trick, you try really hard, eventually you're like, oh my God, this is just not worth it. But you stayed in the dream, and what pushed you to stay in that dream? What motivates you to bring it to people? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that I think a lot of times people it becomes like a phase. I guess that's the right word. It's a phase. A lot of kids go through like the magic phase, the Rubik's Cube phase, whatever phase they're going through. And I don't know, for me, I think I got kind of lucky because I picked it up a little bit later on, when I was past like those phases type of thing. I was already 14. So like I already understood. I think a lot of kids, when they get into it, they don't really understand the ins and outs and the details and technicalities of it. And I think when I started learning it and I started picking it up, I was able to appreciate those subtleties more, and I was able to appreciate the methods and stuff like that. So I was really able to like get into it. I think I kind of got lucky that way. If I would have got into it, I think earlier, I don't know if I would have stuck to it, because
that's so interesting.
I wouldn't have been able to understand like the greatness of like some of these methods and how this stuff works. Which is really cool. Yeah.
That's like you're saying, like if a kid wants to be a policeman when he's a little kid, it doesn't mean anything. But when he really has an eye to it, once he's developing,
100%.
You were thinking of it as that's an interesting answer.
Yeah. I think it's the type of thing that is very it's unique, but it's also like there's a lot of like intricate things to it. So once you're able to appreciate that, it makes it a whole lot better. It's way cooler.
That's a great segue to my next question.
Yeah. See, I already knew like this was gonna. I went straight in.
So here's the thing, right? As I'm sure you know, most people think that magicians have this like almost like evil side of enjoyment, that while they're doing a trick and you get so frustrated, like, wow, how is he doing that, right? Are you guys actually laughing at us the way we think you are, or are you at work? You're doing your business. You're just
So great
focused.
question. I think there's a
Thank you.
there's a lot of depth to behind that question. I don't even think you realize what you're asking. I think that probably is. Just go with it. Say that you knew. No, it's crazy because I think my job as a magician is for you to not feel that I'm laughing at you. I think that's a big
But a lot of
misconception.
magicians fail in that.
I think that a lot of performers, and I shouldn't even call them performers. I think a lot of magicians or people who try to perform, they give off that vibe where it's like me versus you. I'm trying to trick you. You're gonna get tricked. If you understand how it works, you got me, and if you don't, I got you.
Right.
I don't believe in that at all. I think that's such a misconception. That's not what magic should be. And I think magic should be, everyone's in it together. The magician, the entertainer, and the people in the crowd. We're having a great time together. It's a fun show. You should feel like we're on the same team, and you should really feel like something amazing is happening for everybody. And it's not just I'm trying to trick you and I'm trying to get you. It should just be enjoyable. Like I always like kind of when I've seen those types of shows where it's like very like like in your face. I'm
Me
gonna get
versus you.
Exactly. It's a turn off because it's just
Right.
It's not fun. It's not
It's
fun.
interesting. The thing that you have in common in most of your shows, whether it's in the street, it's like shock, it's a just a party, a birthday party, whatever it is, people are all yelling. One guy might be yelling like no, the other guy might be yelling like hey. You have the whole everybody involved, but it's interesting that you say that because that is a consistency that everybody's in it one way or the other.
And I feel like that's when you're gonna get the best reactions because I feel like if you make it like me versus you, people are gonna get closed off and they're not gonna want to admit that they actually thought it was cool. Like if
we're busy trying to figure it out.
We're busy trying to
instead.
figure it out, and if you can't figure it out, you're not gonna admit that you can't figure it out.
Right.
You're gonna be closed off.
Right.
So when you kind of open people up and you let them react and have that reaction, I think that really comes from them being comfortable in the situation, which is a good thing for a magician because you want the people around you to be comfortable. If things are awkward and uncomfortable, which I've seen a lot of as well, which is a whole different thing, then it's the same idea.
So you're actually bringing up another point that your job is more challenging because you live in the time of social media where people could try to Google how did he do it, whereas
That too.
50 years ago,
And you know what? If someone wants to Google something that I'm doing and possibly find an answer, I take that as a win because if you're putting in your time, if you're putting the time of your day to go really do research on something that you saw me
took their
do,
interest and put it in there.
that means that I did a good job
Right.
of really like piquing your interest. That means that
That's a
you
good point.
enjoyed it as well. So like some people have that personality where they have to know how it works and they'll go online and they'll Google it and they'll look around and they'll do this. And I'll be honest, a lot of times they won't be able to find answers because for a few reasons. Number one, a lot of tricks that are invented are copyrighted by the magicians who invent them.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a certain idea or a certain move or a certain gimmick that's built for magicians, you can't just Google it. I mean, sometimes you could. People pirate stuff, like they'll tell stuff anyway, but a lot of times you can't. And then even the stuff you could, my job is not to just do that trick. My job is to take that idea and disguise it in a way where it fits my show personally. So if you Google something that you see in my show, nothing might show up because that's the way that I do it.
Right.
That's not the method. That's just the way I perform it.
Right.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, of course. You could take one trick that you've seen one way, let's say with cards, and apply it a different way, let's say with marbles or whatever.
Yeah.
I get.
I'm thinking of something
what-
specific. Like I close my show with, excuse me. I close my show with this big like number prediction, and the actual method is out there. You can find the method. It's not nothing too complicated. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but the way that I present it, if you would Google the way that I do the trick, and you would say how to do this trick,
It won't lead
you
to
wouldn't
that
find
answer.
anything because you're not looking for the right thing. So I'm comfortable with that. Like people
Interesting.
won't find it, but
Okay. Next question. Street versus stage. What do you enjoy more?
Street versus stage. There's pros and cons to both. I think
I was so sure you were going to say street like that. I don't know why.
So I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. You're mostly right, and I think that is the answer that I would like if you would force me to give you an answer. That's probably the answer I would give you because you're really up close and personal with people. Like the trick is happening a foot away from your face. You know, it's like it's right there, and the reactions you get are always the best reactions.
It's like a drug, bro.
100%. It's like adrenaline. It keeps you going. I think with stage though, it's underrated because I think with stage, there's a structure to every show. Every show has a structure. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. And I think piecing those things together in the right way and getting the standing ovation at the end or the reaction at the end is
it's like art.
Very underrated because it ties everything together. And you're standing on the stage, everyone's giving you a standing ovation. You know, because of kind of this structure that you just put together. I can go out in the street, do 2 tricks, get a crazy reaction, post it on social media. There's no structure to that. It's just doing a trick. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to warm people up. You want to get a better reaction. But for doing something on stage, you know, to get that final reaction at the end, it's like a culmination of the entire show, which sometimes can be way more rewarding because.
I think I can relate to that because I make speeches and I like to write, and I can understand that when you make a speech and people appreciate it, it's the culmination of the entire speech.
100%.
It's probably a similar concept.
No, and I'm sure you're a funny guy, so if you make a joke, right, and someone laughs, you know.
Sometimes.
Usually.
If someone one right now.
Exactly. If someone makes a joke and you laugh and someone laughs, you know, it's a good feeling. But if you have a whole room of people clapping or laughing at at something that you work into and time into, like
that's brilliant. It's like a whole
it's different. But yeah, I would still leave street magic though because I think that's like my bread and butter. That's like
it's so fun.
That's where you get people really to like, you know, they freak out. I mean, people on stage too freak out, and that's awesome. But like, yeah,
but they're in it for the long haul.
This is like right there. It's so close.
That's so interesting. I think out of everything we spoke about so far, that has me changing my perspective on that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Tied to that question, next question. Who would be your inspiration? Both somebody that's not alive anymore and somebody that is alive, a famous magician. And if it happens to be there's only one person, they're alive or not alive, you choose how to answer that question.
Yeah. I think like you have your classic answers that everyone gives, like Harry Houdini. Yeah. I mean, David Blaine's a good one because of what he's done for magic. I think that he really took magic away from that cliche, like, you know, like rabbit hat, cape, like that type of magician, and he really he turned it into something that's much more relatable in the street and that whole idea. So
that's why I wanted to interview you, not to interrupt, but you did similar. I don't know if you realize that or not, but the fact that you took it an extra step and you wear your yarmulke and you're out there and you're a Jewish person, you're a religious person, whatever religion you happen to be, and it's a part of your who you are, and you don't differentiate the two. For example, David Blaine, we don't know much about him. Maybe he's a Jew, and or maybe he's a Muslim. But the fact that you're able to wear who you are while you do it, I feel takes his kind of magic, takes it a step further.
Yeah, I never realized like when I started doing this, I just did it because I had an interest. Like I enjoyed it. I didn't do it for any other reasons, but like I never realized like what people would actually like think of it, and like I didn't realize how many people actually care. Like people, like I get people, they're like not every day.
I think it bridges gaps.
Yeah, I think not every day, but like I have people telling me all the time, like I love watching your videos. It's like the coolest thing. You're making a huge Kiddush Hashem, and I never even thought about that when I was getting into this. I was just doing it, and then this obviously came out of it, which is a good thing because I'm probably wasting my time here, but then I realized. Maybe not,
Well, I guess you have to get to that point where you realize, hey, I'm succeeding.
Yeah, no.
Until that point, you're a little nervous.
If I'm gonna spend, most of my time, practicing magic and doing tricks, and there's no, I guess like holy benefit to it. Like, obviously, if there could be successful, like, completely like I guess, gotchamistic benefit to it, of course, but, you know, like, it's still wasting time if you're not, if there's no, like, you know, like, for lack of a better word, like, ruchnistic benefit. Like,
You want to produce something on a higher
yeah,
value with your life.
there were points where I was like, should I even continue this? Because, like, is it the right thing to do? Is it not the right thing to do? There's all these, there's all these different people who hold different things about magic. Can you do it? Can you do it? It's a sugya. Like, why should I get myself involved in that? Obviously, it's hard to quit when you spend so much time on it and you love it. But at the same time, you know, when you're able to see actually clearly, like, certain things that come out of it that are very important and are, like, you know, you know, that just show me, like, okay, like, you know, this is something that I should be doing. Cause, you know,
Just to clarify, for those who are watching that are not Jewish, he's explaining how, as a person of faith, he would like his career to have a higher purpose in life.
Yeah, not just be, like, super, like,
you
know, just materialistic.
Next question.
Yeah.
Were you finished? Oh,
no, yeah.
You didn't. You didn't. You said David.
Oh, so okay.
You didn't
so
give your picks.
I'll go David Blaine on the living.
Good, because I love him.
Yeah, he's the best. And then he's in a really cool show in Vegas right now, which
He's always
I'm dying to see. So
okay.
See if that ends up happening ever. But and then someone who's not alive. I'm trying to think because I've been into magic for 12 years. I'm trying to think if there's anyone who's passed away in that time that's made an impact on me specifically.
Could have been a relative.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm trying to think, like, magic-wise. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought about this. I'll just say, I'll give an answer. This is not, like, a real answer because I don't know that much about him, and I never, like, spent time studying his stuff. But there was one of the first card magicians. His name was Di Vernon, and this guy inspired a whole generation of magicians. And I'm sure there are plenty of magicians that owe themselves to him. So I'll just say him because
understood.
That it branched down to that. But
he had videos. You studied his work at all, or
not really. I mean, he has books. There's a lot of Di Vernon books and stuff on, like, early card magic. Like, he has some of the best stuff out there, and he's like the father of card magic.
Cool.
But I'll just say him just because
you're a big card guy.
Not to me personally, but I'd say, like, just he gave over his ideas and his skills to other magicians.
For him, things wouldn't have
right.
branched
I would say magic probably wouldn't be where it's at without him. So.
Okay, I think you're gonna like this question. Your weapons.
Just make sure they're still here. You guys still here? All right, cool. Okay, good.
No response.
No, they're still here. They're still here. Yeah.
We're here. I'm having fun. Weapons. Do you come in with what you have on you, or do you scan a room? Is your brain constantly working, and you're like, okay, I can do this, that, like?
So, first of all, I'm very happy. You're asking awesome questions. Like, there's so many little things that I never thought about. Like, no one ever asked me. Like, and you told me you'd be asking these types of questions, and kept your word. Because
I think I have like 10 more that might skip for another time.
I'll say both, and I'll tell you why. I always have stuff on me that I know that I can go to if I need to. I'm also always looking around the room to do things with everyday objects and things that are just random. But I also, this is like somewhere in the middle, I'll use my own ideas or props or stuff that I have on me to make it look like I'm doing something with something random. So if there's a fork or a straw or someone's glasses, I'll make it look as organic and as random as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible that I somehow doctored or infiltrated that random looking object.
Like when David Blaine had something set up ahead of time and it's like, oh, how'd that card get in that basketball?
So it
obviously didn't.
I mean, yeah, it looks super like in the moment, on the spot. Obviously, there are things that you can set up beforehand. But
I was more wondering, like, did you come in here and you size me up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do something that he's not.
But at the same time, like, there's so many impromptu things that you can do. Like, there's so many like things that I can borrow a coin or a pen or just do anything with it. And that's the cool part about magic. Like, you could be somewhere. This is the funniest thing to me. Like, I haven't done this recently, but I would go to I'll be in a restaurant and I'll take a straw, like, or in a Starbucks, and I'll just have it like float from one hand to the other, and like have people like see it kind of out of the corner of their eye, and like just do it like very nonchalantly, like not as like a performance, not as a trick.
Right.
People like do it double take, like they're not sure what they just saw.
Right.
They don't know if they just saw something weird, but like
Right.
like they're like it can't be, but like did I just see that?
Right,
and it's
right.
just
I
it's the
understand.
funniest thing to see them
That's
like
awesome.
questioning the reality. It's the funniest thing in the world. So that type of stuff's pretty cool too. Yeah.
Okay, so I got one more because we can go on. Maybe we'll have another
it's
show
good. We
sometime.
can definitely keep
My
doing this.
my question is like this.
By the way, stay tuned. We're gonna do a trick. So if you guys want to see something crazy that we definitely did not set up,
Right.
yeah. Stay tuned.
I specifically did not ask you to do magic because I left that for you to decide. I wanted to get in your mind.
Right.
You do a trick, always welcome. I'm a kid at heart. But here's my question. I think you're gonna enjoy this too. What is the largest show you did? What is the most fulfilling show you did? And were they the same?
Interesting. I would say they're definitely not the same.
Good.
The largest show I've ever done was, I think, about 1,500 people. It was like,
Including yourself?
maybe 1,501 then, yeah.
That's even more.
1,502 because my plant in the crowd. No, 1,501, and yeah, no, it was like 3 camps like mixed together.
Wow.
So it was like a lot.
Oh, so it was kids, so it was even
It
tougher.
was kids. It was tough. It was
Kids are
tough, and it was
challenging.
definitely not my most fulfilling show. And it's funny, like now I don't do that many kid stuff. I did everything I could, like as I was, building up my reputation. I did everything. I did a kid show. I had a regular adult show. I had, but now that I'm, I kind of, thank God, like I built up my name a little bit. I'm able to be a little bit more like niche in like what I want to do. So I'm doing mostly corporate now. A lot of like higher end events. And I like to stick in that
must be
in that
fun.
adult space because.
You're bringing like this smile to this really serious
Yeah,
environment.
it's the funniest thing ever.
That's
It's
awesome.
like you get to like lighten up a room.
That's great.
Be a little bit of like an icebreaker. Yeah, it's great.
You're living your dream.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it. But like to answer your question,
Yes.
the big crowd, great. Most fulfilling. I've done some other close to that also. Like I did a 1,200 person show and like an 800 person show, 1,000 maybe Pesach. Those shows are always fun. Those are really fun because those are family shows. You get 1,000 people in an auditorium,
Passover.
pack it out. Yeah, Passover
Right.
shows, pack it out. It's awesome. Like those are the fun shows. The most fulfilling shows though, I would say, I think I kind of down the road you were going where like
Maybe you were in a hospital. Something really, really special.
Yeah, well, I have
That, like,
oh
you
my
know,
gosh, I have
hit you
some
hard.
I have some crazy. There was one story, and I would say there's 2 different types of fulfilling. I would say there's fulfilling in that way, and then there's fulfilling in like more like
I got this.
yeah, like
You weren't even sure you'd
I would
pull
say
it
a
off.
lot of the corporate stuff, like not a lot, but some of the corporate stuff. These people are like really like corporate, like whatever. And the people that book me, they know I have a good reputation. They never saw me before, so like
Right.
there's still a little bit of doubt. And then when you knock it out of the park, it's like the best feeling ever because
Yep.
they love you. Everyone loves you. It's like
Yeah.
it's a good feeling. So I think like I love that high. I
You
like that.
controlled the mojo of the
I
room.
love that. I love that. But like fulfilling in that sense, there was this was crazy actually. There was a kid who someone reached out to me and said, "Can you?" And I try to do this as much as I can. I can't always do it, but I try my best. There was a kid who was sick. I don't remember what he had. Some sort of he was dying. A little kid, like 8, 9-year-old kid, and he loved magic. So they called me up. They asked me to come. It was in Muncie. They asked me to come. So it happened to be. It worked out. I was doing something in Muncie anyways. I'm sure, no problem. I'll stop by. So I stopped by, and I was there for maybe 20 minutes. Did a bunch of tricks for this kid, and he loved it. Like he was sitting up. He was smiling. He was like. I don't even like. At the time, I didn't even realize like what I was doing because
You didn't have a baseline to
I didn't have
compare
I didn't have a
against.
baseline to compare like what
And
he
they
was
told
on
you
the daily.
after, like, wow.
And like his mother came out after
Yeah.
and told me, he's like, 2 things. Number one, he hasn't sat up in weeks. He's been lying down. He's been depressed for weeks. He hasn't smiled. He hasn't sat up. He hasn't said a word.
Wow.
And like this is the first time in weeks that he's been like that active. That's number one.
Wow.
And then she said number two, like yeah, I mean that was part of it. She said like it hit me in that moment. I was like, I don't know. I was just thought I was doing a nice thing, like, you know, like, and I was doing a nice thing, but like,
great thing.
but you don't realize like you're not. I learned to realize that, you know, every person has their own world. We have our own thoughts. We have the way we feel, we think, and not everyone's the same. You know, everyone's different. Everyone has their own way they feel, their own way they think. And I'm not in this kid's head. I'm not in this mother's head. But to them, like, it was so much of a bigger deal than it was to me. Like, I didn't, you know.
You were like a superhero.
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
didn't even think about it. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, I got a call a few months later.
And that's why sometimes it's good to have confidence, because you need to own that sometimes if you don't have that confidence, you're not able to make someone else feel better. So sometimes, not arrogance or ego, but know who you are.
100%. And I think also it's good that I didn't understand the full situation, because I feel like I was able to not have that pressure and I was able to just go in and do my thing. But I got a call 2 months later, and this is the sad part. I got a call 2 months later. The kid passed away, and the person who had asked me to go told me that the mother told her that like the last like happy thing that like this kid, like the last time she remembers seeing like a real smile on her son's face was when I was there.
It was you.
And like that hit me so hard. I'm like, she told me that the kid passed away. I was like, I didn't even know him. I knew him for 20 minutes.
Right.
But like that hit me. I was just like, whoa, like it sounds so like oh like wow, you make such an impact. Like I don't even understand it. I don't understand it. But like those moments, it feels different. And like this leads into a whole different topic.
Right.
But this is like also with charging money. Like there's a concept called like, and we're going a little long here, which is fine. But there's a concept called Imposter Syndrome, which is, I don't know, you know Imposter Syndrome?
You have a syndrome that you're an imposter?
Yeah, basically. No, that's what it is. Like
you said I was smart. You said I was funny. I'm smart too.
Exactly. I know an imposter syndrome is like, I know myself. I'm myself, so I feel like myself.
Right.
When I'm charging X amount of dollars as a magician, it's a weird feeling, because you're like, but I'm just me. I'm not this guy who should be doing this.
Right.
You know, I'm just Shlomo Levinger. I'm not this guy who should be making this kid the last month of this kid's life, the last time he smiles. Like, why should I? Like, what does that have to do with me? But you have to realize, you have to say, yeah, no, like, you have to put yourself in, and you have to give yourself a little reality check and say, yeah, like Hashem gave me this, God gave me this ability, or this
skill.
not even ability, but this skill and this work ethic to talent to be where I'm at, or to do what I'm doing. And it's, obviously he wants me to use it in the best possible way, and this is that way. Like that is that way. So
I think a lot of people have this need to fail. It's like somebody says to you, "Oh, you look good." You don't hear it. If somebody says you look bad, you'll be harping on it for 3 days. I think you're kind of describing that in a bigger global career way, that you got to own that, hey, I'm good and I'm allowed to feel good about this.
Right.
And this is a great way to end the show on this really sad note. Thank you.
It's like it's like the show we were like going up and dropping straight down. No, but I think that it's important. Like I think it's
I asked for it, and you definitely gave me.
Let's do a fun one. Let's do a fun last question.
A fun last question.
Yeah, let's do something that's like, let's take the show back to like where it was at. By the way, I still got the mic here.
I have so many questions. I don't know where to start.
Let me pick one. Should I go through it? Should I see my mic? We got a whole list here, brother.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I think I went through most of them, and you can't read my scratch.
But
I'll tell you what.
This is good handwriting.
Thank you. I'll give you a question. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
I said it in passing, but I want to say it as a question.
Perfect.
Because I truly believe that you are the most famous Jewish musician, just kidding, magician alive.
Yeah.
And, well, that too, because they didn't have social media. Not that you're dead, but... Okay, point is that, again, I'm not trying to blow steam. The fact is that with your abilities and the way people love you and the fact that there is social media, let's be fair to, the guys ahead of you, I mean, do you see yourself like that? Do you see yourself like you are the greatest Jewish magician in the world? Because I literally, like, I watch you. I'm not a guy who watches people's statuses.
Right.
Statuses are strictly there for people to see mine.
Right.
But I actually watch yours. You're the only one.
Dig yourself into a hole.
Yeah, I know there are status addicts, but that's not what the show's about.
No, I think that it's important.
I think you're phenomenal.
Thank
It's
you.
crazy.
Thank you.
And the bridges that you gap throughout religions and types of people and nations, and it's crazy.
It's hard to fathom sometimes.
Yeah.
I do think so. I think I do a decent job.
Good.
I think there's it's funny, like I think when it comes to I think there's a certain like full package that's needed in these types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
So there's you have to be a good performer. B, you have to know the slights. You have to be able to do the magic. C, you have to know how to run a business, and you have to know how to be a person.
You have to have had a dysfunctional childhood.
That's to win AGT. That's a different story.
There's a couple of important ingredients you skip.
But you really there's a lot of factors that play into like having that full package. There are a lot of magicians that I know that are way better sleight of hand artists than me, way better. They're just they never had the opportunity to work on the performance, and there's people that are way better performers than me. They're not magicians. There are people that are way better business minds, but they're not performers. So I think it's kind of just like the fact that I'm able to, that I have the talent to do all three. I think that's a huge factor in why, thank God, that I'm somewhat successful. I think there's obviously so much room to grow. Like there's certain things that I'm always trying to expand and like work on and make it better.
I don't think you have a choice. I think that
you have to. I think if you stay stagnant, it just dies out.
But I think you just improve because you're constantly practicing.
Yeah, constantly practicing, working on new things, and
every time you're on stage, you're practicing.
I'm always working on things to develop the show that are not even magic things, just production and media and sound and lighting, and always working on ways to make the show look better.
Yeah, you were the first person who was coming to the show, and you were like, "I'll meet you ahead of time. Let's make sure that everything is all right."
Yeah,
you didn't want to just sit down and get interviewed. You wanted to make sure.
I mean, that's the idea of this. I was thinking, maybe I'll bring my brother. He'll help out. He's an unbelievable videographer. I did like the idea of this being like super raw. I like that. And
thank you.
I think certain people, I think sometimes that gets lost a little bit. Like people don't realize like the pros to that. I think
absolutely
everyone always wants it to be as high definition as possible. This is just great. It's just two dudes just chopping it up. That's
we don't even know until after we're done if this thing even hurt us because the fans are so loud.
I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
Listen,
we might have to do this again.
Yeah, I'll be down. We can do this whenever I'm around. Whenever
you're fun to hang with. All right, what's your trick?
Let's do the trick. All right, let's get into it. I'll do something real quick just because. Let's do this. I think this is a fun one, and just to prove that we're not we're not doing this. I do have a Sharpie. I don't know if you guys can see that. I have a Sharpie. I'll leave the Sharpie here on my shirt, and then I do also have a deck of cards, I believe. Beautiful. I'll do this. Do me a favor.
Yes.
Just name any card and go for it. And we did. By the way, we did not set this up. I for real. Like.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I made my prediction. Yes.
I'm a terrible.
Name any card. Go ahead.
Well, it's got to be one of two cards. My two favorite cards.
But do I know what your favorite cards are?
Well, people usually guess that they're aces. Unfortunately, they're not.
Okay, say whatever it is.
My two favorite cards are 7 and 8 of spades. So I'll go with 7. Just
7 of spades?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
So maybe I knew that would be your favorite card. I want you to go for a random card. You can either keep it at 7 of spades. No.
6 of hearts.
6 of hearts.
That was just. I don't know if you put that in my head, but there
positive.
Was. Yeah. Wait. Do I want 7 of spades? I don't know. Now you're confusing me. 6 of hearts and that's it.
Done. We didn't set this up.
No.
If I predicted the 6 of hearts in this deck, that's a miracle, yeah?
Yeah, I kind of felt like you threw energy at me.
It's possible. I'm going to take the cards out of the box. Yeah? And I want you to see this. You ready? I'm going to spread through the cards a little bit. I'm going to spread through the cards. Yeah? I don't know if you can see. Can you see the cards? Can you see the cards?
I see the ace of spades.
You see the ace of spades. Okay, it's a good card. That's not the 6 of hearts.
Right.
We got the
ace of diamonds.
Ace of diamonds. We got... Can you see the cards?
On the screen?
We got the
Ace of clubs?
Ace of clubs. And last but not least,
Let me guess. Ace of hearts.
the Ace of hearts. We got the 4 aces facing the wrong way in the deck.
Right.
Now, you said 6 of hearts. Well, you first said 7 of spades, but you changed to 6 of hearts.
Correct.
And you said that was the final.
Final, yeah.
I'm not going to take these out of frame because I don't want you to think I'm changing them or switching them. These aces were facing the wrong way on purpose
Right.
because I didn't want you to see the backs of the cards.
Okay.
The backs of the cards are from a red deck. I wrote words. What does that say?
D?
Hold that.
No way. 6. Of? No way. I'm going to go with 7 of spades.
The 6 of hearts. I'll take this one step further. But you,
Oh my
by the way, you
God.
didn't have to change. Like, you randomly said 6 of hearts, and that's really on there for real, for real.
Yeah, like if you just did that with your fingers right now, you have the sickest handwriting.
You want to see the craziest part ever, though?
What?
Here's the craziest part ever. Hold these. Remember the Sharpie that I put in my shirt?
Yeah?
This is where it gets super weird, and this has been framed the entire time.
Yes.
You ready?
No way.
You see where it says Sharpie right there?
Okay.
And I'll show the camera just so they can see it. You see Sharpie? Watch the Sharpie logo. I want you to hold out your hand like this. Put out your thumb like this. Like this, put out your thumb. Yeah, and I want you to put it here and just hold the Sharpie and just rub the Sharpie logo. Rub it, yeah, like up and down. Like rub it like this. Yeah, keep rubbing it. Here. Look.
6 of hearts. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No way.
That says six of hearts. That's really.
Oh, the Sharpie mark rubbed off there.
Is it there? No,
No,
look,
it's
nothing
not,
there.
there's nothing there.
For real, 6 of hearts.
Oh my gosh.
Bam.
This is
Magic.
not tricks, this is real magic. Spooky.
Alright,
You're
we'll save
wicked
that for later.
smart.
There you go.
Wow,
That's pretty
thank
wild,
you
right?
so much. All right.
But like, no jokes. Like, cameras rolling, but like, that's like, you can't make that up.
How do you do that? Wow. Should have said 7 of spades, huh?
Now you're rethinking it.
Wow. Thank you so much, brother.
There you go. That's that.
Thank you. All right, guys.
All right,
There you
guys.
have it. Thanks for watching. If you're with us this long, I'm really glad. If
Yeah, I'm
you're
happy
not,
it went this long. That means we had a good conversation.
yes,
That's good.
great times. Thank you so much. Take care.
There you go. Peace out, guys.